Hello, welcome back to today's Inktober. We have our rhinoceros from yesterday, and today the great people at Inktober have been really helpful and have given us a really easy word, which is camp. And I thought that's a really easy word to put with rhinoceros. So what I decided to do is to put up a tent, but have the tent as though we are looking out of the tent at our rhinoceros. So let's draw that together. Let's set ourselves a little 10-minute goal so that we keep it nice and easy. Just for how the rest of my painting works, I'm going to try to keep the top, the bottom of my, my gap in my tent not too far down past the feet here. I'm going to also take a little rounded triangle as though it's like, you know, those parts of the tent that kind of, that zip up inside, like you've got an inner part of your tent and you have like an outer part of your tent. So it's not exactly a triangle, it's that kind of round one that you kind of kamikaze into from the outside. So this is the inside part of the tent. I'm going to do a little rim around here. I'm going to grab a little bit of a thicker pen than what I used last time so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I've got a rounded tent opening. But when it gets to kind of towards the bottom, I'm going to put the zip rectangle here. And then I'm kind of going to make it as though I left the tent open for some fresh air. I don't know. So I'm going to follow the kind of rim of my tent around again on the inside like a sausage. And if you're worried about doing this straight with pen, you can go ahead and do it with pencil. I'm feeling calm this morning, so my hands are quite steady. I'm going to stop at that zipper because I've unzipped my part of my tent. I'm taking that down there, and I might kind of pretend that I unzipped it to here. And then what I'm going to do is take that kind of fly screen material. So watch this, I'm just going to do a few folds. And it's okay that they fold over the feet of the rhinoceros because actually it is behind that tent. So, and that kind of just gives us an idea that the tent's open. So this is the inside bit where the person is asleep. Then I have an opening here, and then I have that little weatherproof bit outside the tent. So there's like a little zip here, and then a curved bit to the side. You can kind of see through my tent a little bit, that curved part, the second layer. If you're a big camper, I used to be a really big camper, but not so much in the UK. I did a lot of camping in Australia, which was really fun. So that's the outside of our tent, and we'll have a few little tent lines, fabric lines kind of coming down this way, just to show that the fabric is kind of stretched, and we can have it pulling up that way as well. because the word is camp. I don't know if I mentioned that. Sorry, guys. I'm also going to do a little fire back here. So I know it's a lot, but it's quite a fun little thing to do. We'll do a rectangle behind the leg of the rhinoceros. Might take that a little bit longer. That's why I'm using my pencil. And put a little round circle there. A little bit of wood here, and then some really fun flames, which just look like petals at the back there. I'll show you what that looks like when we ink it in. So I've got a little piece of wood here. And then these look like petals, but they can just be little flames because we'll color them in orange and yellow. When I was designing this, I was thinking, oh, the rhinoceros has come to tell the camper that his fire's too big. But that's just the Australian talking. Be careful if you are erasing your pencil lines under some ink, because if you haven't let the ink dry, it will smudge. If you've painted with me before, you know I've got way too many palettes, so I just had to go hunting for them to find them. I'm going to keep my tent nice and kind of not camouflaged exactly, but keep it that kind of browny greeny color. So I've got a bit of ochre and a little bit of green. It's an olive green and an ochre. So first thing I want to do is paint my zip line just along here, and then grab some of that yellow and green. I'm using a mop brush because it's going to cover a big area. My inside tent here. I'm only taking it up to the horizon line because I have other plans. And the other thing I'm going to do, this is quite important for my design. See at the top here, I've got something to go there another day, and I don't want a dark color there. So I've got a bit of water on my brush, and see how I'm making that wet. Then I wiped my brush, and I'm going to come back and I'm just going to lift off some of that color. It's not going to go all the way back to white, and I don't need it to, but I'm just making that bit a little bit lighter, and that's okay. Depending on the quality of your paper, you'll get a variety of results, but it won't be, just as long as you don't do it dark black or anything like that, you will be fine. Now I want to do the outside, but I need the inside to dry first so that I can get a little bit of layering. So while that's drying, I'm going to get a little bit of brown and go ahead and I haven't activated my paints this morning, so it takes a bit longer. I'm going to do some bits of wood. The really great thing about leaving it a day between each painting is that it all dries. So I've got a bit of brown. I might put a little bit of orange with it for no other reason except it's fun. Make it a bit darker. Got a bit of black there. Whatever feels good. And now with watercolor, we do often work from light to dark. So for my fire, I've got a bit of yellow for the middle parts. bit of orange around the yellow. Not trying to be perfect, not trying to create the most perfect fire anybody has ever seen in their lives. And then I have a little bit of red over here, just for the tips of the fire. So while that orange is still red, you can go in, sorry, while that orange is still wet, you can go in and just put this nice little red outline on those licks of flames. And you've created a nice harmonious gradient. We're not super concentrating on our watercolor skills for these lessons. There are all sorts of skills that we've been using for Inktober, but the main point of doing this has really been to get practicing every day, to lower our feelings of perfectionism and really just kind of try to enjoy getting the paints out. So for my outside of the tent, I want to layer a little bit of this yellow oak. I keep going into the wrong color. I want to layer a little bit of yellow ochre on the outside here. Okay. And I kind of want you to be able to see it, see that through, so that this is bright because there's nothing stopping your view, but then when it goes past the green, you can kind of still see it. That's the transparent quality of watercolor. So a little tiny bit of layering there. I'm going to come back and do the background another day once we're kind of working out how to finish everything, because we had a lot of basic shapes, inking in, fabric, doing the fire. We won't do the background yet because we'll just wait to see how harmonious it needs to be at the end. I hope you have enjoyed that. Thank you so much, everybody who messaged yesterday and said it's okay if I have to start again. I feel fine about it today. I checked my volume. Thank you, everybody, for painting along. I will see you tomorrow for the next prompt.